Hello, my lovely paranormal loving listeners. Welcome to Spooky AF. My name is Suz, and I'm joined by my co-host Rob. Rob, how are you on our fine Sunday morning? It's been a few weeks since we recorded.
Yeah, it's actually been quite a while now that I think about it. Yeah, I'm good. I've recently just had my birthday, and I feel older now. I'm tired.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you woke up and like another batch of stem cells were dead.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I woke up and sneezed and threw my back out, and then
Yep.
all was dark. But no, apart from that, I'm good.
I sometimes I feel more spiritually close to that Mars rover that it's like last words where my battery is low. It's getting dark. I'm like, damn, that robot understands.
Pretty much, I'm alternating between that and the Bilbo from the Fellowship, where he's just like, I'm old. I feel like butter scraped over too much bread.
Oh, but Rob, it's okay. It's the time of year. You have to tell me what's going on with the because the time changed and the weather. Like what's happening in the twilight hours.
You'll be delighted to know is that as of today, officially, as of recording, because the clocks have moved forward, there is now going to be a grand stretch in the evening.
Ah, yes. Long-time listeners will know. Rob is my twice-a-year almanac.
I just reset everything.
Yep. Yeah. Like I don't believe in astrology, but I do rely on Rob to tell me about like the equinoxes and the solstices.
Look, I have to just let you know when there's going to be a grand stretch in the evening and when September starts.
Yep, and I'm gonna get that fucking message, and I'm gonna be like, God damn, it's happened again. We're back around. We're so back, baby. Oh, it's really the little things that are keeping us going.
100%. This is what you have to do. You gotta make joy somewhere.
For sure. Oh, I have to tell you. So my husband and I had the audacity to purchase train tickets far enough in advance to like make the train up to Belfast to visit friends yesterday like affordable. So we're like, because we normally take the bus, which kind of sucks because it's like longer and it's a bus. And as I don't know if listeners know, but Rob is very well aware, I get very car sick.
Sorry, you get the bus to Belfast.
Oh yeah.
Says, come on now. Like, I know we're in Ireland, but like...
Oh yeah, no. I get the bus, and because it's normally so much cheaper, and
for a reason.
My husband and I
for a reason.
I know. Like, believe me, first-hand account. I know.
Okay, so we had the audacity to pre-book train tickets in Ireland, which is never really a good idea. But
no, because we were like, oh my god, we can actually we know, but that we're going up far. Because usually the friend that we go visit, she's a bit older than us, so she has 2 kids that we love to death. But therefore their schedules are a bit more fluctuating. So yeah, exactly. So they're like, sometimes they're like, a few days before they're like, oh, we're free on the Saturday, can you come up? But this time they were like, no, this was, 6 weeks ago, they were like, come up on March 29th, and we were like, grand. So we booked the tickets and we're like, ooh, we're gonna be so comfortable, and like, I don't get sick on the train, this is gonna be great. No, the universe was like, bitch, those are notions you do not deserve. So we get to Connolly, which already, for those who don't live in Dublin, and especially those people who don't live in Ireland, Connolly Station is such a fucking shithole.
Yeah, Connolly Station is like it's the worst of every station in Ireland, just like merged into one. Like,
oh yeah,
there's no coherence to what platforms are used. I do know for a fact, actually, I think it's the Belfast train uses like platform 1.
No, they use platform 2 because they have like this weird little quarantine waiting room next to it that makes you feel like you have COVID when you're waiting for the train.
It's basically the like cook chair equivalent of a train platform, where it's like you have to sit in this little room and watch all the other trains come in and out, and you don't get to partake.
Oh yeah. No. So from where we live in Dublin, we took the train. We live next to a station that goes, as you know, Rob, goes directly to Connolly. So we're like, okay, so we get off our normal commuter train at Connolly, tap our leap cards off, and then then you have to kind of like go around into the platform 2, which is the only platform that does the train to Belfast. So we're there with plenty of time, so we're just sitting and listening to podcasts and having a chat and stuff, and then it gets time where it's like 10 minutes before our train's supposed to leave, and they like open the doors to let us board. So we walk out of the little shitty waiting room and get on the train and sit down, only to have a very small, very angry Northern Irish woman just fucking start sprinting up and down the carriages, screaming at us to get out. She being like, it's not time to board, just like hauling ass. Like,
I am the keeper of trains.
Essentially, we were like, oh my god, okay. Jesus Christ, we're going. Like, she was so small, my very tall husband could have, like, drop kicked her into the next dimension.
But you see, that's how they get you, though, because they're small and nimble.
Yeah, that's it. You know, she was quick on her feet. Yeah. So we go back into the little shitty waiting room, and then it's like an extra half an hour before they even let us on the train.
Very good.
So we're running half an hour late.
Yep.
So we get on the train, and so they come on to, like, you know, on behalf of Ian Rodair, we apologize for the, you know, so we're just like, oh, okay, it must have been like a signaling error. Nope. It was that the locomotive car of the train, like, you know, most of the train's go power, just had to be replaced.
Yeah.
The whole fucking car. Like, they're basically like, yeah, sure, look, the engine wasn't working, so...
like, nothing surprises me when it comes to Irish Rail. Like,
oh, God.
I think I've mentioned it before on the podcast, but Ireland is one of those countries where, like, if you travel outside of Dublin on the train, even just in the commuter belt, which most people do, like, you just need to, you know, make peace with the fact that a couple of times a year, you are going to hear an announcement from the train driver with basically one of two things. One, they can't proceed further for the moment because there's leaves on the rail line.
Oh, yeah.
Or two, they can't proceed any further because there's cows up ahead on the rail.
Oh, yeah.
And these are things you just have to make peace with if you go outside of Dublin.
Because, like, if you live in Dublin, you've been on the Red Line Lewis and somebody has brought a pony on.
Yeah, to be fair, the Red Line Lewis is a whole other experience.
Oh, that's
I wouldn't wish on anyone.
Other thing. Like, we'll dig into the Red Line Lewis lore a different time.
That's a paranormal like experience there just on its own. Like, we could literally just go and sit and do the full loop of the Red Line Lewis with our mics, and that would be more terrifying than any episode we've ever put out.
that should be our next on-site, just doing the whole loop of the RedLine Lewis.
That might be, like, if we ever open a Patreon, that'll be our first Patreon exclusive episode.
Oh god. Yeah, like, we don't live past Red Cow. Stop.
No, like... Absolutely not. Because, you know, you most likely won't make it past Abbey Street, so anywhere after there is a bonus. And that's at the start of the journey, by the way.
If your ass makes it to Jervis Shopping Center, you're doing real well.
You're pretty alright at that point, like.
Yeah, you're, like, basically Houston Station Stop is the sign that says, like, abandon all hope, ye who continue on this line. So sidetrack. Anyway, so on the way back, we were supposed to catch the 6 p.m. from Belfast back to Dublin. So we make the train fine, not a big deal, grand. We get to between Portadown and Drogheda, and the train just stops.
Yep.
Like, no, just stops, you know, in between stops for like half an hour. And then this lad comes up and down. He's like, oh, well, you see, one of the cars, the doors aren't working, so we're trying to fix that. And we're like, was anybody trying to get off in the middle of the two stops? Like, was somebody trying to escape the train and they found they couldn't? But anyways, we're like, fine, whatever. So we get to Drogheda, and they then just couldn't get the doors working. And so it was actually kind of funny. So a load of people just got off and were gonna, like, kind of shoestring their way back to Dublin via a series of buses and stuff. But my husband and I were like, oh, fuck it, we're tired. We'll just wait till they're done. We'll get back to Dublin eventually. And hilariously, a load of people got off and they're like, ooh, we're not gonna wait. And they immediately got the doors working and the train left.
Oh no. But also, yes.
So, the looks on this, like, there was this one woman who had been sitting by us who had just been spitting straight acid about her coworkers the whole time, like she was a real bitch. She looked like somebody had punched her in the face, and it was so satisfying.
Oh, that is what I'm here for. I love that.
Yeah.
And
but of course,
also,
in true Dublin,
Drogheda is not, sorry, I'm going to say this before. Anyone who lives there, I apologize, but there's nothing good in Drogheda.
There's, like, you don't need to be there.
No. I live, like, not far away from Drogheda, and I generally don't ever have to drive through it, but anytime I get close to driving through Drogheda, I have this, like, actual, like, audible gasp where I'm like, oh god, no. Like,
it's like when I get stuck at Broombridge and it's getting dark.
Well,
like,
that's a safety concern.
That's a safety concern. Yeah. You're like, oh no, no. No, so we get back to Dublin, and naturally on a Saturday night, the last train out to where we live which is a very popular commuter line, is like an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
So we have the choice to so they're like, oh, you can sit at Connolly for 90 minutes. You can't do that because they don't want, like, unhoused people sleeping, so you can't really, like, sit on any of the benches comfortably.
Yep.
And then B, I was like, well, fine, you know what? Let's just, like, walk to the bus that goes to our house. So I was like, I need to pee first. So I went to this was my fatal mistake. I went to the bathroom at Connolly Station at
Suz.
8 p.m. on a Saturday.
Ah, no, come on.
This was on me. I am responsible for this. I walked in and was smacked with this scent of like the strongest, cheapest vodka. Like I felt like I was 19 again. I was like, oh God. So then I went to like, there were 3 empty stalls. All 3 were covered in vomit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it was 3 separate girls though. I think it was one lass who just was having an increasingly bad day.
Like, to be fair, she probably was pre-drinking on the train, and by the time she got to Dublin, just needed to just deal with it.
Yeah, oh yeah. She, there's such a thing as a tactical chunder, but this was neither tactical nor with quantity could be classified as a single chunder.
Yeah, but she probably was on the night out then at that point, so she probably felt much better, and,
Oh yeah, she like pot by Supermax. She's fine.
She sorted herself out.
She's thriving.
She's all good now.
Yeah. So yeah, that was sorry about that 10-minute. I just really needed to vent about Irish transport.
That's absolutely fine. I welcome this, and I'm just amazed at the quality of Irish rail.
Oh, it is, and they're always like, Ian Rod Aaron, they're like, does deeply apologize for it, and thank you for traveling, Ian Rod Aaron, like, because they know you don't have another choice. There's not another train operator. Like,
that's how they get you.
Like in the UK, there are multiple train operators depending on what part of the country you're in. Whereas here, it's like, welcome to Irish Rail. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, well, we don't have any of those notions of multiple train operators. We don't need that here.
No, you need one guy doing the trains.
And you'll be happy about it as well.
You will be happy about it. We'll take care of the leaves when we can.
Yeah, don't ask about the cattle though.
No, sure, you know yourself.
Yeah. They'll move eventually when they want to.
No, but, okay, massive segue, but really appropriate. Seeing all the sick in the bathroom actually ties in really well with my topic for today.
That is a phenomenal segue. Well done.
You are very welcome.
Masterclass of segues right there.
This is a content warning that... Do you remember the content warning we gave for the Witches of Belvoir?
Oh God, Suz, what are you about to drop on me?
This is gonna be worse than, like, there's a lot of fluids,
right.
And like some of them bodily, some of them applied to bodies, and
fair. So
if that is like gonna turn your stomach, maybe give this one a miss. I do think it's great. It's really fun, or just like maybe just don't be eating around the time you listen to this.
Okay, that's a fair warning.
Okay,
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm getting better about it, because I think when we did Witches of Belvoir, we were knee deep in piss jars before we gave a content warning.
Yeah, I think it was literally we were talking about piss jars, and then we were like, oh, by the way, content warning.
Yeah, we were like, we've been talking about piss and blood for like several minutes now, but just in case. So the title for this is Weird Cures to Awful Diseases, a whistle-stop tour of shit and blood.
Oh, yes.
And this is actually, Rob, this is very exciting. This is going to be a multi-part series.
Oh, phenomenal. I was only literally just thinking yesterday, I wonder when our first like 2-parter or multi-part is going to come up. So there you go.
I was going to do it all in a water, and then I was like, no, I've got enough for 2. And then I was like, no, I've got enough for 3. And then I thought, I like looked at further into things, and I was like, oh no, this is going to be like a run. This is like our Bigfoot saga.
Oh, amazing.
This is my, yeah.
I'm here for this.
So, yeah. So, like I said, first installment of a series. But now, as long as there have been humans, there has been illness, and we've tried to logic, pray, and bleed our way out of it.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to go over like the biggest heavy hitter today. We're going to start with the Black Death.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, because go big or go home.
Yeah,
so,
fair. Yeah, this is like, this isn't baby's first plague here.
No. Oh, God. Well, actually, I mean, I guess in the history of humanity, it was probably baby's most deadly plague, but whatever. So, again, I want to put in a few caveats as I normally do. I absolutely won't be covering all historical dimensions of these illnesses, which are obviously super nuanced and complex, and had loads of like social and economic impact and all this other shit. This is just a taster of some of the really fucking weird ways that people address the plague. I also want to note that my examples are almost all, I think all of them are from like Northwestern kind of Eurocentric, because like medical treatment, culture, and faith are inextricably linked. I'm a white woman from America who immigrated to the UK and is now a naturalized Irish citizen. Like, I am so deeply white. But education and
you've collected so many of the Pokemon gym badges though at this point though, as a result.
It's true. It's true. But like my education, my research, and my postgraduate work focused on Europe, in particular England and Scotland. Like I am not qualified to speak on other cultures' remedies for illness without like potentially kind of inadvertently misstating or misunderstanding essential context and nuance without a lot more research and consultation of experts. So I'm not going to because unfortunately this podcast is still not mine and Rob's full-time job.
Yeah, that's pretty much it right there.
Like if it were, we would do like the paranormal answer to Dan Carlin's hardcore history. We'd be doing like hardcore paranormal. Like
Yeah.
we would give you a 4-hour deep dive.
I would go so deep into the paranormal. Maybe it's a good thing that it's not full time actually.
Yeah, maybe we should never have a Patreon.
You know how much I'd spiral. Like I would literally have a board on the wall with red string.
You would, and then I would just be constantly watching that Patreon bar, like being like, oh, we're €1 closer to me getting a soda stream. So
look, we have to keep the soda stream fund going, you know, like I'm determined now.
If the people want 6 hours of Black Plague cures, they're gonna fucking get it. I'm getting sparkling water.
All I ask is a soda stream.
Yeah. God, the bar is so low for millennials.
Yeah.
So low.
It's that meme of like you get like 6 hours of plague cures, I get soda stream.
Yes. So yeah, I'm not delving into the rich traditions of indigenous people's understandings or like or you know kind of the medical history of the global south just because I know I am qualified to take the piss out of and call ridiculous things from like my cultural bailiwick.
Yes.
So that's just to say. So sources. There's a great article on worldhistory.org by Joshua Mark. There's an icy, I don't know if it's icy or issy, Cedric piece on plague folklore, an article by Francis Linehan for the University of Oxford, and an article from the website The Collector. So, as many of our listeners likely know, as I'm sure you do, Rob, okay, what they may not know is I'm actually really fascinated by like pandemic diseases. This is a pre-COVID fascination. Like, I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't go into medieval history, because I like the plague in particular, and then the earlier plague of Justinian and all that fascinate me.
Yeah, I think we may have briefly talked about this on the mass hysteria episode, potentially.
Yeah, well, I think it's because I grew up without healthcare.
I was, you literally just took the words out of my mouth. I was about to say, you had a pretty close experience to a medieval peasant when it comes to healthcare.
Oh yeah, you know, like if I had scratched my foot on a nail, I was gonna get lockjaw and die immediately.
Yeah, you're done. Like, that's it, done. Like, life, you speed run that one.
I mean, if I was born 2 states east, I probably would have had, you know, like a brain worm to rival RFK Jr.'s. Like...
Yeah, I still, just a total side note, I'm still getting served daily reels of RFK's brain worm, but just with the chanting from Dune, and I'm still here for it. It's still funny every single time. It's
still, and I laugh every fucking time.
Yeah.
God. Oh God. Yeah, that man's not great. But anyway, so as many of our listeners will know, the plague overwhelmed Europe from 1347 to 1352, and the first instance was kind of like the first batch that really, like, in some places wiped out 90% of the population. Like, whole villages were just completely wiped out.
Yeah, I don't think people really appreciate how, like, bad the plague was.
I was listening to, over COVID actually, I was listening to like a 20-part lecture series from a medieval historian who specializes in the plague, and she was saying that it, if you looked at it today, it would be like, so consider you, like your house, and then consider like the 50 houses near you if you live in a suburb, and she's like, all of them died except for like you and George down the road.
Yeah, it's kind of mad when you think about like how many people died, and then I suppose like, yeah, when you look at like the percentage of it, yeah, you're right, like when you scale that up, like it's actually like terrifying.
Oh, because it becomes so reasonable, the kind of like the whole, you know, because I know that, like, I don't want to speak for you, Rob, but I'm an atheist, like, to like I don't believe in God,
the answer,
but
is for me.
I do know the answer to that. But like you totally would understand, especially like back before the scientific, like the Enlightenment and the scientific revolution and all that, just this whole like everyone around me is dying an excruciating death. Somebody up in the sky is pissed.
Oh,
like,
yeah, 100%.
That seems totally reasonable.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like I can 100% see why people would come into that way of thinking. And even before that, like in like prehistoric times, or not prehistoric, like ancient times, you know, with like multiple gods and all that, I can totally see like why people, when something bad would happen, would be like, oh shit, like we done goof.
And you can understand the kind of difference different like, aspects of gods. Like if I'm just thinking of like the Greek kind of Roman pantheon, where you're like, oh wow, like the beauty and majesty of the first bloom of spring, you know, like this must be something divine. And then like a massive thunderstorm that like catches your house on fire. You're like, that's also divine, but very different.
Yeah.
Like that's not the bitch that put the flowers here. I don't think.
No, you're like, yeah, I had like one strange thought and now there's a thunderstorm. I must have infuriated Athena over something.
Exactly. Yeah, I have insulted somebody and now my hair is snakes.
Yeah, why have I done this?
So, God damn it. So anyway, so plague. So it obviously it didn't originate in Europe. It had hit Eastern civilizations in China and Mongolia, kind of where those modern day states are. Was carried to Europe via trade routes and the movement of Mongol forces as they moved west. Quick, interesting note. From what I understand, the first plague case in Europe, like when it like docked in Europe, it was like there was like a boat of people coming, of like Genoese sailors who all had the plague, and they landed in like I think it might have been Venice, but I don't quote me on that. But they landed somewhere in Italy, I believe, and everybody was like, no, they're all sick, they should stay on the boat. But one guy knew one of the sailors, and he was like, basically like, oh sure, like Carlos is great, like he's just not feeling great, you know. So they took him in for the night, and then that is basically what started the plague in Europe. And I thought, wow, to be that guy who was like really hospitable and wanted to help a friend, and you just killed Europe.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That all checks out.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Having just gone through the pandemic, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Or like the guy who invented the internet.
Yeah.
Like, you know, same diff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so comes to Europe. So now many people would have heard the term miasma, or like bad air, which is what a lot of people, medical officials and just the kind of even common lay people believed how the plague was being transmitted. So yeah, it is this idea of bad air, common medical term at the time, and it was thought to have carried the plague from house to house. And interestingly, a lot of the kind of treatments and ideas around disease were still derived from Greek and Roman sources like Aristotle, Hippocrates, and Galen.
I mean, that makes sense considering how society had been for the previous few centuries.
Oh, just in fucking shambles.
Yeah.
Well, actually, immediately preceding the plague, there was this like high point in art and culture and literature, and there was like
a bit of a golden age revival, but yeah.
Yeah, and it was going really well. In fact, it was almost going too well. There was a land crunch just before the plague. Like people were like, even poor people were like healthier and being fed better. So there actually started to be slight supply issues, and people didn't know how they were going to solve it. But then, you know, the plague solved it for
Sorted it out for them.
So yeah, they'd be like, oh, you've got too many people, say less, fam.
Yeah.
Like so
don't you worry about that. That's fine, we got that.
Oh yeah, no, that's part of the package.
Yeah.
So I've seen these treatments marked into categories or cures, and so these would include things like called animal cures. The one category that made me laugh the most was the potions, fumigations, bloodletting, and pastes category, which I really think I'm gonna start referring to my skincare as now.
That is, yeah. So I've no notes there. I've recently been made aware of like Korean skin care stuff, but you know, I think you've got a niche in the market here that you could maybe work on. Because
I'm like, yeah, so upscale brands are marketing, you know, like, oh, this is glow serum, and I want like, no, I want fucking fumigation paste.
Yeah, you know, to be fair, like people were fascinated for a long time about like paleo being like, oh, you know, you need to go back to being like a caveman. You know, you could,
God, yeah,
you could potentially take over this market here, being like, well, you know, everyone wanted the paleo side of things. Why not go back for like, you know, dark ages skincare?
Have you applied your potions and your pastes? So another category was fleeing the area or person and persecuting the marginalized.
Good, of
which
course.
Is, I mean, that one's an old classic.
Classic European, you know, colonial experience right there.
Oh God, yeah, just fucking like oppress.
Yeah, well, you know, it's like, oh, people are sick. I guess it's the poor.
Yeah, it must be because they're poor of spirit. Yeah, just fucking. Let's yeet them into the pit.
Not only am I rich in body and spirit, but I'm financially well off as well. It must be the poor's.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that whole like, if you give poor people money, it doesn't solve poverty. And I'm like, having been there, yes, it fucking does. But Anyway, then the next category is quarantine and social distancing, which may sound rather familiar unless you're kind of a Gen Alpha listener, in which case you're probably kind of too young to be listening to this very sweary podcast by disgruntled spooky millennials. But, choose your own adventure.
Absolutely. Or it may not sound familiar to certain people who are absolute arseholes as well, but, we'll glance past that.
Oh, yeah, because, a mask would have covered the main thing they value about themselves, which is their voice.
Yeah. It says everything right there.
Yep. So I'm going to focus on the practicalities of these batshit mental belief treatments, and I think you're going to enjoy it and also be grossed out. So,
excellent.
One of the most popular methods for treating the plague was known as the Vickery method, which was named after an English doctor who developed it, Thomas Vickery. And so here's the sitch. Your loved one has the plague. Bad news bears. So all you need to do is take a healthy chicken, pluck its ass, clean of feathers. So you just got a bare arse chicken.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you're kind of giving that chicken like an assless chaps look, which is very queer coded, and I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm here for this.
Now, Rob, what do you think you do with the chicken?
Oh,
I hazard a guess. This will be fun.
I'm going to assume that there's going to be blood involved at some point here with this poor chicken.
Actually, no. This is a bloodless one.
Oh, okay. I don't know that. I'm stumped with this one.
Well, I think I'm gonna say a combination of words that you're not expecting.
Okay, let me prepare myself mentally for this.
Yep.
All right, continue, please.
Apply the newly bare-arsed live chicken, to the swollen lymph nodes on the neck and strap that chicken into place.
I'm so glad that we're doing this episode.
Me too. This is really healing. So, you take a bare-arsed live chicken and basically take a belt and just strap it to this poor person who has the neck of this poor person who has the plague.
I'm going to savor this moment for the rest of the week when I know that I have stuff coming up in work. I'm just going to think back to this moment.
To me, this is something like, is this the new self-care trend?
Oh, this is incredible. And I now just have this mental image in my head of how does this work?
Yep. So, the theory was that the kind of the nastiness of the plague would be drawn out of the swollen lymph node and into the chicken. So the theory would be that the chicken would start to become ill and then the person would start to become better. How it panned out was usually that both chicken and person died.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see either outcome for these people being or animals being okay.
It's kind of a Dolly surrealist version of the human centipede, but it's like the human chicken neck. I don't know why my mind just went there, but here we are. It also reminds me of, I don't know if this was a thing in Ireland, but in America these were everywhere on infomercials, but they were these I think they were called something like Kanoki foot pads or something, and they basically they looked like thinner menstrual pads that you kind of stuck on your feet overnight, and then when you took them off in the morning they'd be all brown and disgusting, and it was supposedly had drawn out heavy metal toxins from the body through the soles of your feet.
I have questions.
That's the modern day answer to the chicken neck.
I don't think they were a thing here. I could be wrong. I don't remember that, but maybe I'm not the target audience for that. Yeah,
I don't know. It just I mean, I'm sorry. I think I don't know. Wasn't it your wife was telling me about that apple cider vinegar thing on Netflix about the Australian grifter who faked having cancer and then said she cured it with apple cider vinegar, and loads of people died because they listened to her instead of getting chemo?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like that. They'll be like, "Oh, oh my god. Oh, sorry. I just had the most amazing thought. What if this becomes like a Sigma male thing where they're like, "Oh, well, do you know the remedy to low T, like low testosterone? You gotta pluck the ass of a chicken, just strap it to your abs.
You gotta put that chicken taint on your neck, bro."
Yeah. You make that chicken serve you. Sorry, this has gone so many directions. As you can, things have been and are continuing to be unhinged on this podcast. So,
I'm here for it.
So yeah, anyway, the chicken and the person would normally die. So another practice was to find a snake. Sorry, Ireland. You mince that fucker up and rub the pieces on the swollen lymph nodes. The article that I got that from has a great note that basically says like snakes were likely used because of their associations with Satan and evil. However, there's also documentation that pigeons were also used in the same way, but that reasoning is more unclear, which I think is a lie because anyone who has lived in a city knows it is because pigeons are far more evil than snakes.
Pigeons are literally rats with wings, and I will maintain this until the day I die. I fucking hate pigeons.
Well, like, so they're out terrorizing other nice birds in the suburbs, but they're huge. And then when you go in the city center, it's a real class system. Because when you go into like a pigeon at Connolly Station, it is walking on like 2 stumps. Like it has no feet left. It's got 1 eye, and it just looks like it smokes a pack a day.
Yeah, like pigeons just give off mad notions, and I'm not okay with it. Like I'm not a fan of pigeons. They're especially Dublin city pigeons.
Oh god, yeah. So anyway, pigeons, more unclear at the time of why they would use those. So now we're gonna move into a treatment that falls into the potions category, which all of our Hogwarts Legacy buddies. So it is the unicorn potion, which you cannot convince me is not the current name of a skincare product or like a Starbucks pinkety drinkety.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if something that comes out on the Goop lineup.
Or I bet I could go into Boots, walk down, which is like for other listeners, like a chemist or drugstore chain. I could walk in there, throw a stone, and it would hit some kind of like makeup primer called unicorn potion. I'm sure.
100%. Absolutely. Like I would honestly be shocked if you didn't. And I can almost picture the tube and stuff that it's in. It's gonna have like bright pink font on it and sparkles
and like a pearlescent purple bottle or something. Yeah. So it was called unicorn potion, and so what you did was you found yourself a young virgin woman, and I know like this is where we're gonna like bring back in our far right Christian grifters.
Yeah, they're back now.
Like, what?
They've re-listened.
They are back, baby.
Yeah.
They're so back, baby.
They searched the transcript for this episode and they were like, holy fuck, here we go.
They've just been gooning for weeks waiting for us to bring up young virgin women. God. Are you gooning, son?
Yeah.
But anyway. Sorry. I think we probably need to record more often because I think the longer we go without it, we start going slightly insane.
The brain rot sets in. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we have to, this is our bloodletting. Like we have to rebalance our humors.
This is the equivalent of putting a chicken on my neck. It's a microphone in front of my face.
Yes. So you get a young virgin woman who they are the only ones able to lull a unicorn into a sense of security to then shave their horn, which sounds like the most perverse sexual act.
That absolutely sounds like something that you find on Urban Dictionary.
Yes. So she took the shavings from the horn, which could then be like ground up further and used to treat a bunch of random shit like fever, seizure, serious wounds, and the plague. I mean, I speak for us, like us whores that are too busy lulling unsuspecting partners into perverse sexual activities that like I don't care about the horse with the horn. Like I don't. But I'm just speaking for like I say the whores here, but I'm like a happily married monogamous woman. Like I act like I'm just like out on about the town.
Just out and about cruising, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. People have some strange remedies for things. When we lived in Vietnam, it was still very common for rhinoceros horn powder to be purchased in shop. It was like advertised and things like that. And it's basically this like cure-all powder that people would actively seek out for using from everything from like, you know, I have like really bad migraines. It's like, oh, you know, rhinoceros horn powder all the way through to I can't get boners anymore. Like
that might be causing the migraines.
Yeah, and it's this thing that like the Vietnamese government are even like trying to be like, you shouldn't be having this, but people there are like, no. Like my family have been getting this for years. You know, it works.
That one has, you know, that's like I mean that has real negative environmental impact for biodiversity.
Yep.
I think that at least the unicorn one, like I mean, shout out to Scotland, like, I think it's fine. Like, nobody's actually getting unicorn horn.
Well, not anymore.
True.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I get to talk about a species that goes extinct because of the plague. Oh my god.
Get the unicorn.
We're gonna get there.
We've just covered it.
Okay, that's true. We've just fucking covered it. I know. But so that's unicorn potion. We have so much. We gotta keep going. Okay, so another one was people were advised to consume ground up emeralds, or if you were a poor scrub and did not have your own emeralds, you could drink straight arsenic or mercury.
Oh, very good.
Which is how we get the medieval Silver Surfer, I think.
Yeah, it also solves the problem of people spreading it because they're dead.
Well, that's what I actually kind of think that one's a bit nice because I've heard that there were like multiple forms of the plague that they still like, and so like one of them would have been, which all were awful, but one would have been I think like pneumatic or septicemic or something, and it was like incredibly painful, and you were like vomiting blood and all that. I think just dose her up with mercury. It looks magical. It'll kill her like grand.
Yeah.
I think that's just nice.
The arsenic one maybe not so much, but
No, the arsenic one's gonna hurt worse, I would think.
Yeah, the arsenic one is definitely like someone suggested that knowing what that was gonna do.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe they just like the smell of almonds. Oh my god, is this the origin story of that like MLM Cincy? Oh wait, is Cincy an MLM? I don't know. It's a brand that sells a lot of smelly things. Like,
oh my god.
Don't sue me for libel. I don't actually know the business model, but I just know that like they've got a lot of wax smells.
I just love this this one dude in particular who's recommended it, just walking around the plague being like, everything's better now because it smells like almonds.
Yes. I'll be like, I do what I can. This is everyone contributes where they can, and this is my space.
It's not much, but it's honest work.
It's honest work. He'll be like, look, do you want to smell shit and blood, or do you want to smell bitter almonds? Take your fucking pick. So yeah. So one of the more popular potions had over 80 ingredients in it, but people loved it because the one ingredient it contained in significant amounts was opium.
I was literally just waiting for you to say the word opium.
Yep. And I'm like, I want to take that one now. How did that not persist?
100%. Like, hook me up in an opium den, and I'm good.
I think that's my problem though. Is I get like a mild headache, and I'm just like, I would like to smoke opium in like on a chintz poof with a silk robe. Like, I don't want to take a paracetamol. I want black tar heroin.
You want the good stuff. That's fair.
Yeah, because you're kind of like, the headache is the last straw with everything else going on.
Yeah. No, the headache is really, you're hitting on the head there. It's the last straw.
Yeah. So another is something that people have probably heard of. It's talked about a lot, and when you think about kind of pre-scientific revolution and understandings of the body and illness, is humor balancing. So you have certain humors in the body, like blood and phlegm and other types of phlegm. I think there were colors involved. That were, if they were in balance, you were healthy, and if you were sick, it meant they weren't. And this usually meant that people were then bled, so if you had an infection that gives you a raging fever, swollen gangrenous lymph nodes, and particularly like vomiting of blood, you clearly must have too much blood. So there are actually special knives for this. They were called fleams.
Yeah, they actually look really cool. Like they're metal as fuck. Like
but that's also a Rick and Morty term.
Oh, is
like
it?
The fleam. Yeah, the episode where I think it's like an interdimensional cable episode where they're talking about how to make a plumbus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, then you gather. Oh no, I'm so mistaken. They say it's schleem, not fleam. Damn it.
That's fair. I'll allow that.
That was close. That was close.
I'll rule down on this. That is allowed.
That was a deep cut that was only partially wrong. So, but yeah, so you have too much blood, and they would typically bleed you from either the like prominent veins like at your elbow or forearm, or the jugular.
Yeah, bleed you from ass to mouth. It's
fuck.
Yeah, they gotta get it done.
Okay. Yeah. So a funny fact about so another form of way to bleed you was obviously leeches, which a lot of people know about. So a funny fact is that the particular species of leeches that were popularly procured by medical figures, like up until pretty fucking recently for things, they were called Hirudo medicinalis, I think, is how you pronounce it. And they were used to such a great extent that they were declared extinct in the British Isles at the beginning of the 20th century.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Considering that people still use leeches for bleeding themselves.
I actually think there is some medical, like they have figured out sometimes that
there is a medical
leeches are a positive. Yeah.
No, there is an actual thing for it. I remember watching a documentary on it before where there is a genuine medical use for them. But then there are other people who are in the same band as people who actively consume tapeworms who also believe in using leeches to purify their blood and things like that.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of Kelly in The Office when she's like, they're all doing that diet challenge and she's like, Creed sold me a tapeworm and it's gonna grow inside me and eat all my food for me. And then it pans to Creed and he goes, that wasn't a tapeworm.
Yeah, the whole tapeworm thing is it's mad. I could be potentially misremembering this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I remember my wife saying to me before, because she's quite into like yoga and things like that, the consumption of tapeworms is quite common in the yoga world in certain circles, where like yogis and things like that who are doing like detoxes will like consume a tapeworm because it'll like detox their body for them. And
well, yeah, it's detoxing them of like vital minerals and nutrients.
Yeah. And
that's like saying I'm doing a detox from oxygen.
Yeah, pretty much. And then they'll like purge and things like that. I could be misremembering that, but I'm almost certain that there was like a whole thing about it where it's like they're common enough, or sorry, more common than you would think in the yoga community, which is just bad.
I knew a girl in high school who got she had previously been overweight, and then she was from a very wealthy family, and they got her like, was it like lap band surgery?
Yeah.
And so she like dropped a bunch of weight, but she refused to admit that she had weight loss surgery. So she just told everybody that over the summer, the reason she dropped so much weight was because she got a tapeworm. So she went around the school like saying she was a tapeworm survivor.
And
like trying to raise awareness. And I'm like, bitch, we're aware of like your privilege. We get it.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah. That was the thing she thought was more, instead of just being like, I mean, she could have not wanted the surgery to be found out, fine. Like that's personal, private, whatever. But like she could have just been like, oh, I don't know, I changed my habits.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like it's like she was half step away from being like, oh, I had cancer. Like, that's no, insane. You didn't.
That is absolutely insane. Yeah, sorry, I just looked up the tapeworm thing there with the yoga people just because I didn't want to potentially didn't want to put out some misinformation. Yeah, no, it's a thing. They call it the tapeworm diet. And it is a thing.
Oh, God.
Now it's like fringe groups within the. I'm not saying that anyone who does yoga is believing in this. It's very much so extreme. I'd be
interested to know what part of the fringe it is. Like, is it like upper middle class white almond moms?
You know the answer to that is.
Yeah, I do.
It's the upper class ones, and then it's the other side that are like the crusty ones.
Oh yeah, the ones that like the guy with the super long beard who can fold himself into a boat.
Yeah, white dudes with dreadlocks, basically.
Yeah, he only eats mangoes. Yeah. Like, sorry.
You have to address him by his Earth name.
Well, they think that like they are morally superior because they eat the green part of the strawberry. Like, tell me that's not true.
And if they don't say namaste at least 4 times in a conversation with you, they've failed as human beings.
Oh god, yeah. They talk about like going with the natural rhythms of the earth. Rob, do you ever think that we might be diagnosed with what is called the hater disease? Because I think we might have it.
Absolutely not.
Just 2 millennials just judging.
Well, maybe actually. And now that I think about it,
I'm fine with it. I know who I am.
No, we're
like,
in
this.
Is fine. We're in this lane firmly, so let's just roll with it.
Oh yeah. So the leeches went extinct. Okay. So a really popular cure was known as the Four Thieves vinegar, which was a vinegar-based kind of concoction that had a bunch of garlic and herbs and spices. And that doesn't sound very exciting, but I thought it was interesting how it got the name. Legend says that it was that thieves were ransacking the homes of dead plague victims, and that if they took this before they went in to ransack the house, they would wouldn't contract the plague themselves.
Very good. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's very if any of our listeners have seen the like new Beetlejuice film, Beetlejuice, like there's like one of the best scenes in it is when he's talking about his past, and I think he switches to, what is it, in Spanish, I think, or I think it's a Romance language, but then it's all black and white, and he's, as a human, was like digging up plague bodies to rob them of their valuables. Like that's what I think of when I think of like Four Thieves vinegar.
Amazing. I still haven't actually watched it yet, so you've convinced me now with just that one that one example.
It's a great scene. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was like the high point of the film. Either that or when they drop kicked a demon baby. That was also pretty good. But anyway, so onions were often used in the same way that the neck chickens were. You'd rub a chopped onion on the buboes, which would draw out the illness purportedly, and the strong smell would also balance out the miasma in the air. Now, I brought this up not because it's like a super weird cure in and of itself, but that it's very much still floating around places like Facebook, which is, you know, the bastion of old people who use the phrase big pharma a lot.
Yep.
And it's kind of this, you know, reactionary, anti-vax, like holistic medicine, but in the most kind of like not tied to any form of actual
onions.
Like, you know, yeah. So like you would, because I remember growing up and there would be old people who'd be like, oh yeah, you know, if you slice an onion and put it in a bowl around the room, it'll help, you know, kill bacteria in you and stuff. And like it's the whole thing. What was it that?
I know
my God,
people who believe that actively still today.
Yeah. Or okay, have you heard of this? I swear to God, every mother on earth has has said this. They think that if you have a cough or a chest cold or something, that you should put the Vicks menthol rub on your feet and then put like a pair of warm socks on when you go to bed, and it will make your cough go away.
Yeah, it says you live in the land of flat 7-Up. Like we.
Oh God, yeah, flat 7-Up. That is Irish mams. You
like,
gotta stop that.
Hot 7-Up or flat 7-Up, either works, and you know,
God.
Yes, I have heard of that. I'm very familiar with people who do that. And yeah, the onion thing as well. It's slice an onion and put it out, and it draws in like bad odors and things like that. I know people who will put them in like their fridge. If there's a bad smell in their fridge, they'll like slice an onion and put it in there because they think that.
Well, doesn't it just make your fridge smell like onion?
No, well, I haven't done it, so I can't speak from.
Well, I just imagine because like it's a strong smell. Like it's like if you leave like bananas too close to something and they get too ripe, then that like the bread next to it smells like bananas.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would assume that is the case, but you know,
I'm not a miasma expert, so
no,
I'm not gonna.
Look, you know, maybe Big Onion has something going for it that, you know, we just don't understand. And then there's different varieties of onions. You know, we have to consider that as well. You know, red onions are a stronger smell than say like a yellow one.
I mean, you can't convince me that red onions aren't the Skibbity Rizzler of the onion world. Rob, you got real quiet there.
There's sentences that have been uttered today that I don't think have ever been uttered in human existence, and you just dropped another absolute banger of one right there.
I think people must listen to this and think we don't edit anything.
I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty liberal with what I leave in.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the things we're editing out are like the pauses that it takes for our brains to buffer once the other person says something crazy.
I think I might leave that pause in.
just for dramatic effect. So I've saved the best for last.
Oh, okay.
So we've moved on to shit.
Of course. It always comes back to shit.
Yep, literally. So they would mix up human excrement with some random herbs into a paste. They would cut open the swollen lymph node, like the buboes, and put the shit in it.
No.
Like, it really gives another meaning to the phrase arse over elbow.
And like, is it their own shit? Or, I don't even know why I'm asking this. Is it their own shit, or is it someone else's?
Okay, so on the shit I am unclear, but on the next one I am clear about who it belongs to.
Okay.
So I don't know about like that, but they find shit and then they open up a swollen plague infected buboes.
Yep.
And we're like, you know what'll fix this? Shit.
Like that
They fertilized the plague. Like that they did that. God. I need to go back to bed. Like,
oh, that's amazing. I'm just laughing at the moment because where I live on the countryside, farmers are actively fertilizing their fields at the moment, so there's quite a strong smell in the air, and it's just sat here thinking like
they fertilized the plague. They'll be like, you know what it needs? Nitrogen.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So, yeah, that's one. And then there are other equally gross treatments I've seen suggested in documents. One being, and I really have questions about how this worked practically, but they would completely submerge a person, I think, is like completely submerged. Maybe it's just like dab, but in a bath of urine. But the urine had to come from an uninfected person, which I'm like, that much piss has got to take a while. How did they collect it?
Yeah, that's either a community event, which is then a super spreader event,
Yep.
or there's just some absolute little freak somewhere living in a village being like, oh, you want my piss jars?
Do you think it's like, I'm thinking of a super spreader piss event where, God, those fucking words I'm putting together today. So you get like a town, it's being ravaged by the plague, you get all the healthy people together, and what do? Like link arms, squat, and then just like try, like the women trying their best to aim. Like we can't control that.
Dudes, dicks in hand, just hoping that the wind doesn't change direction as they're pissing into
Or
a
there's a
bath.
rule that like guys aren't allowed to come like 2 hours before the event because they don't want to like a split piss stream or something. like I don't know. Like, what's the prep for this? Like drink as much wine and water as you can get a hold of.
You know how I just
God,
said that I liberally leave a lot of bits in on our episodes?
Yeah.
I think I might have to take a heavy-handed approach with this one.
This is what the people want, Rob. And we're gonna get comments. We are literally gonna get comments be like, no, Suz, it is not.
This is the most depraved episode that we've put out so far.
For sure. So yeah, it's like, how did you collect that much piss? What were the rules? I need to understand. Like,
Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
I don't know. It's 2025. I already know too much. Maybe I do want the answer to this.
Maybe they cut the piss with water. You know, maybe it doesn't have to be like 100% pure. You know, it could be like enough that you can cut it with water and it like still does the job.
Do you think they got the young virgin unicorn bitches and then they called it like extra virgin piss?
Heck yeah, 100%. Like if they didn't, there's a market there for it.
Oh, and maybe if you,
Because
do
there's
you know
still
how,
a
like, your
market
first
there
piss?
among the depraved users of Reddish.
Oh yeah. Do you think that, you know, like your first piss of the day, like is often darker because you're dehydrated from sleeping? Do you think that that's what because, you know, they talk about like extra virgin olive oil is the first press.
They want the premium
So like
kush.
the first piss.
Yeah.
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 The dawn piss.
Yeah, they want that premium stuff.
Dawn of the piss. Dawn of the piss 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh my god.
This is the legacy of George Romero.
Yeah.
God, okay, so finally I'm gonna call for my, like, alright, all you kinksters out there, you depraved perverts, you like very healthily negotiating and consenting like sexual fetishes, good for you. I've got one for you, and a treatment for the plague, which was a bit more preventative, but other people who also had the plague were doing this, which just seems really shitty. Like, so it was self-flagellation and the flagellation of others.
Look, you know,
So,
they're just in for a good time there. Like, that's...
You know that they were like masochists who were also exhibitionists who were like, I've never been happier in my entire life.
Yeah, 100%.
Like this, I get to walk through the streets while people look at me, giving myself pain.
Yeah.
They were like that. They were the original wearers of like tunics that said like, "Don't whip me or I'll come." like, like,
They're just like, wait, what?
yeah, yeah. They'll be like, God forgive me. Sorry, God. All right, and that's gonna wrap us up for the plague today.
Yeah,
I
I think we're done here. I think we're...
and I mean the really horrifying part is that was part 1 of this series.
Jesus Christ, Sis. What have you dropped on this podcast?
I don't know, Rob. I'm just asking questions.
You're just a messenger of information.
Yeah,
That's
I'm just unafraid to speak the truth. Oh God! All right. Well, that I had a good time. You know, ultimately, like we are our target audience. So,
That is true. That is very true.
like, if other people enjoy this, it is a complete like anomaly side effect.
Yeah, if other people enjoy this, like maybe ask some questions about yourself.
Yeah, like if I win the Euro Millions, I'll get all of our followers therapy.
Yeah.
That'll be like the Patreon bonus.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
This
so
has
that,
been
yeah,
delightful.
yep, it's blood, piss, and urine all the way down.
Yeah. The warning at the start was really needed for this one.
Oh yeah, but if you stayed with us to the end, I mean, good on you, Jesus
Good for
Christ.
you. Maybe go
Good for you.
go, really think about your life choices up to this point. If you're
Oh,
still
oh my
here.
God, sorry. I know this is getting long, but we have to talk about the picture I sent you.
Yeah, you really do.
So I sent Rob a picture, and I found it on one of the sites I got some of the information off of, and it's like I think it's a painting from, so it's from an artist in the mid to late 19th century, and I think it's like a depiction of the plague.
Yep.
But I don't know if am I describing this correctly, Rob? It looks like zombie Avenger Jesus is holding a scythe atop a beast that only has bat wings and a tail, which kind of looks like it could be Jesus's dick as well. And then there's like a woman in red weeping over what I guess is a dead plague victim. Is that correct?
You're pretty much spot on there.
So yeah,
pretty much exactly spot on. Yeah. It looks like a Nazgul bird from Lord of the Rings.
Yes. So the so the artist is Arnold Böcklin. It's got the umlaut, so I don't know what that does to the O sound, but he lived 1827 to 1901, and it's currently in the Kunstmuseum in Basel, Switzerland.
Very good.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So thank you for that. That's going to be the art that's going to go up on Instagram with this.
Well, as long as you credit it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody have a good day. If you're feeling unwell, like stay away from your own shit and the shit of others. I think is my parting goodbye this week.
Yeah, piss baths, maybe stay out of them as well. It's not good.
Yeah.
Not good for the soul, I would imagine.
Unless you're an alt-right grifter, in which case, please take a piss bath.
Do absolutely do that gamer girl piss water like you.
Oh no! I think I hope they buy gamer girl piss water, but it's actually like this really burly man who's just been collecting his piss for it. And he's got like an anime profile picture.
Yeah, it is. It always has been.
It always it's the astronaut with the gun behind the other astronaut. Always has been. Yeah. On that note, have a great week. Stay spooky. Stay unsick if you can. And listen to sound medical advice if you are sick.
Yep, that is our takeaway from this episode. Thank you, everyone.
Find us on the socials, and we will see y'all next time.
Yeah, take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.